HBCU students from all over the nation at different colleges and universities all applied for the 2021 HBCU Educated and NASCAR scholarship competition. For one lucky winner, his race to victory has just come. We shall reveal the winner. And the winner is Jared Washington.
Hello, my name is Jared Washington, and I'm a junior honors finance major attending Howard University, originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I want to take the time today to thank the NASCAR organization for selection as the winner of the HBCU Innovator Scholarship Competition for 2021. I can honestly say throughout applying, I really enjoyed the application process as I got to come up with ideas on how to aid the organization's mission to better connect with campuses across the United States of America. Not only did I get to build on skills in the classroom, but it's also nice knowing that the ideas I presented will truly help the organization and will be considered when it comes to recruiting efforts abroad. I really enjoyed the idea I came up with, researching, and more. But however, what I enjoy most is the opportunity to stay connected with the organization in the future. And this is one that they've definitely provided. I definitely look forward to taking advantage of. Thanks again, NASCAR. I had a lot of fun during the presentation. I look forward to staying connected in the future.
And now, let's connect with the NASCAR's former Managing Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Don Harris, and the founder of HBCU Educated, Kadeem Pilgrim.
Do just an overview of your background. You have such a very extensive background and experience. So I know you started at a PWI at Ohio State, and then you went on to get your MBA from Clark Atlanta University. Your professional experience is just incredible. And your history with NASCAR is also just phenomenal. So if you can just give the audience of students just an overview of your background and what led you to NASCAR, that would be
okay.
amazing.
Perfect. Okay. Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. In terms of the question about my background, I am an Ohio native, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Went to Ohio State for undergrad and majored in econ with actually a minor in African American literature. Ohio State then was about 50,000 students, so pretty much a town in of itself. And if you didn't really have a focus of what you wanted to do or a support group or professors or other resources there, you could easily get lost along the way. While I was there, I happened to meet a grad student who had gone to Morehouse and had mentioned to me the AU Center if I was looking at getting an advanced degree. So that always stuck in my head in terms of what he shared with me about the experience, what the support system was like, or different, I'll say, from what the experience was like at my undergrad. So I had always intended to work a few years, get some tangible work experience, and then go back to school. So that was always in my mindset. And so I worked for about 3 years and started looking at grad programs and landed at the B School at Clark Atlanta University, majoring in marketing. So that was really, I guess, the starting point for my professional career.
Incredible. Thank you so much for that. So now I've had the honor of garnering NASCAR support for several years at this point for the HBCU Summit, which is an event geared towards HBCU students aiming to get into the sports and entertainment industries. Now, this year we took things a step farther by establishing a $5,000 scholarship for HBCU students. Can you just, from your perspective, tell me why are initiatives like this scholarship competition important for NASCAR?
Well, money for a college student is always important, right?
Yes.
Ideally, you want to leave with not a huge debt on your back with student loans and other things that you have to pay back. So it's really important for myself and our department when we are in the position to help ease some of that financial burden with students. The competition that we had that students there participated in was a video essay asking how and what NASCAR could do to be more engaged at HBCUs. So that is also a great way for us to have a touch point to one, make sure the programs and initiatives that we have in place or are considering doing resonate and make sense to college students. And it's also a good way to make sure that we're being share of mind, that there's some thought of the students about NASCAR. So they'll do some research about the sport, about some of the current activities or marketing things we do. So it's really a win-win. It helps the student obviously financially, and then it helps us with some fresh perspective and some new ideas about how we can be more engaged and more relevant to HBCUs.
Absolutely. And can you speak to NASCAR's other efforts to reach, engage, and ultimately employ HBCU students? I know you guys have a couple.
Yep. I would say the one that's the longest standing is, technically this is our 21st year, but we did not do our internship last summer due to COVID. But we have had an internship program for 2 decades now, where we recruit diverse students from all across the country to really have a hands-on, tangible work experience within NASCAR. We are headquartered in Daytona Beach, Florida. We also have an office in Charlotte. Most of the students will work in a department at one of those sites. And then we also have many of our agencies and other industry partners participate in the program as well. The last few years, we've had north of 30, close to 35 interns who come in for this paid internship experience, and also have an opportunity to do lunch and learns with not just senior executives, but also people who were interns when they were in college and who now work in the industry. So it's been a really wonderful way for us to expose students to different career opportunities. And I think a lot of times people who want to work in sports don't realize that there's also a finance department, there's also an accounting department, there's a legal department. So these are not necessarily sport centric, if you will, but they are all functions that are necessary for the business to operate. So we've had great success in onboarding diverse students to work in various locations and departments all across our industry, with the thought that once they go back to school and graduate, that we are a viable career option for them.
That is incredible. Now, I'm glad that you brought up the internship program. Can you talk a bit about the intern experience for students who aren't very familiar with the program?
Sure. And I will say that you don't have to have NASCAR experience or motorsports experience to be considered. You do have to have a 3.0 or higher GPA. You do have to be in matriculation towards a 4-year or graduate degree, or have recently graduated, and you have to be ethnically diverse. So those are the base requirements, in addition to obviously interviewing and presenting your resume and that sort of thing. The thing that I really like about the internship program is it really takes into consideration the fact that many of our interns don't know motorsports. Some of this, of course, is pre-pandemic, and we've had to pivot a bit like everyone else virtually. But historically, we have the interns come to Charlotte, North Carolina for our All-Star Race weekend. And during the 3 days, really get immersed into the sport. So going to the NASCAR Research and Development Center, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, meeting, as I mentioned earlier, previous interns who now work in the industry, going to 2 races, just really understanding, getting a deep dive, if you will, into all aspects of what happens over a race weekend. So when they do start their internships, they have a point of reference to help them through their journey throughout the summer. That's really probably, I think, the best starting place you can have. We also have a mentoring component. So each intern is assigned a mentor, and has regular check-ins as well as impromptu check-ins, just to make sure that they have someone that they can go to if they have questions, and to make sure that someone is helping guide them through their summer. So it's a really great program. We've had some great success with it, and are just looking, as I mentioned, with COVID, some creative ways to really replicate that kind of engagement.
Awesome. And now, as a graduate of an HBC yourself, specifically Clark Atlanta University, how important is it to you that NASCAR is creating this talent pipeline within the HBCU community?
It's very important to me, and I think the testament is that we continue to see just amazing talent come out of that pipeline. Mm-hmm. I think if I were to have a magic wand, is just to have opportunities for earlier engagement with HBCU students, even coming in as freshmen. If we could do, case studies around a NASCAR initiative, I think just getting more, as I said, share of mind about NASCAR, not only as a career option, but also as a entertainment option. I think more recently, NASCAR has more eyes on it, with Michael Jordan coming in, owning a team, having Bubba Wallace, our African-American driver, fill the car. We have a developmental driver, Raja Karuth, who's actually from DC, and is a student at Winston-Salem State University. So the more exposure we can get within the HBCU landscape, I think the more we're just going to continue to reap the benefits and get some great talent into our pipeline.
Amazing. And now, it is a well-known fact that the sports industry is often one of the hardest to gain access to. And I know that before making your way to NASCAR, you actually started off in hospitality. Can you talk a bit about, what your strategy was for attaining your role at NASCAR, and if you faced any, difficulty transitioning from a different industry into sports?
I wouldn't say challenge, but it definitely is different. But there are definitely a lot of resources for you to learn. And there are definitely people who want to help you learn. So my advice is to read, to listen to podcasts, to watch a race, even if you may not fully understand what's happening. But the more you understand about the functionality of the sport and the industry, the better whatever your area of expertise will be. So my background was marketing. So I knew marketing. I knew, obviously strategy and tactics around how to execute a marketing plan. What I had to learn was how you activate a marketing plan in the context of NASCAR. NASCAR is a very transient sport, meaning that we move from market to market. Once we're in season, we're in a different city every race weekend. So learning how to take certain marketing messages, themes, executions, and be able to replicate it in multiple races and markets that are similar but different. So just really taking advantage again of those resources to really help take that skill set that I had and that others may have coming into the sport to identify the best way to execute.
Awesome. Now, if you could leave HBCU students with only one piece of advice, specifically as it pertains to finding success in the sports industry, what would that advice be?
I would say do your homework, do your research. You may not fully know where you want to land, but at least have a sense of where you want to land. So if a recruiter or an employee at an industry approaches you and says, what area of the industry or sport are you interested in? Have an answer. Yeah. Don't just say I'll do anything, because that will demonstrate that you haven't really thought about it and you just see sport as a lucrative, fun industry. The people that are going to shine and rise above the crowd are the people who've done some sort of due diligence, who you may say, well, I'm interested in marketing. I'm not sure if I want to do it on the team side or the league side, but I have an interest in social media or what have you. So just really do your homework. and make sure you ask questions and follow up. Don't just, meet someone at an event and say you're interested, never to be heard from again. So that follow up is critical. And even if there's not a particular job opportunity right at that moment, just establish those relationships, because over time, you don't know, other opportunities may develop a year or two down the road. So really make yourself relevant, make yourself known, and do your homework.
Awesome, thank you for that. And then my last question, can we expect more HBCU-centric initiatives from NASCAR in the future?
Oh, absolutely. I think the silver lining with COVID has been that we've all had to explore different other ways that we can be visible, relevant, and engaging. One of the things that we're currently working on with several HBCUs is in the gaming space. So we have a game called NASCAR Heat 5, and we have tournaments that we are in the process of launching. And that is a different, obviously virtual way to learn about the sport and to onboard into the sport. And there's tons of different directions that could take you. That also includes scholarships. We have prizes that are scholarships to the students. So that does keep in mind, again, as I mentioned earlier, we know that is a potential barrier for many students, and want to make sure when and how we can provide some financial support. But I would say the gaming space is the space that we're now being more engaged with. And post-COVID, just also really looking to bring more groups physically to races so they can actually see and experience the race for themselves and continue to be visible in events such as this, so people can know and learn more about careers, in that we do have some HBCU representation across our industry and are always looking for more.
Awesome. Dawn, thank you so much. I feel like I learned so much. And listen, again, thank you to NASCAR for just your dedication to the HBCU community and really making this scholarship happen. It's been a great deal to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be a partner with you.
Want to stay updated? To find out more about HBCU Educated and scholarships and opportunities, please go to hbcueducated.org.